understanding.
It's given me understanding of why, and it's built me up to that reason. Then I believe that's what it was for. But I don't know. I mean, since then, my beliefs and my fancies and the same, but as regards the actual past life, that doesn't bug me anymore. That's been done and dealt with. And I knew that would probably, I felt that very strongly that was going to happen, which is why I got it all typed and transcribed in the first week, because I knew it was going to go. Well, it had been with me for sort of like the best part of 6 years. It was going to go very quickly once we downloaded all the information, if you like, and it did. And I haven't thought about it since.
Well, this is it. Once something's dealt with,
in fact, I can't, sometimes without looking it up, I can't even remember the names that I was in the previous life now. I've never bothered looking them up. My father has. He says he hasn't found anything yet, but obviously I said to him, there's always a percentage of error.
Well, this is interesting, actually, because one of the criticisms that I sometimes get about doing past life regression is why do you need to dig up the past?
Yeah.
It's interesting you should say that, because if there's something that's still being carried over, once that's cleared, then you don't think about it. You don't need to think about it.
I mean, being the sort of person I was conscious I didn't want to go into another lifetime and carry this over again. Now, I've always believed in reincarnation. I've always believed in multi-lifetime, sequential or otherwise, consecutive. And I've always believed that everybody you get involved with in your life, every time will come back in the next life together. They might not necessarily be the same people. You know, your son might not be your daughter, might be your mother in another lifetime, and all the rest of it.
You have some of that in regression, didn't you?
Yeah. But I always believed that you always come round together, and I just didn't want to take any more shit, for want of a better word, into another lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is why I had to purge myself. And to be honest with you, James, I've completely forgotten that I had regression done now, and that's probably why I lapsed time, and it's taken me a while to get back, because of what with work and all the rest of it. Sarah's going, you better always get on in touch with James, you know. Yeah, I'll do it, I will do it, you know.
Did you find it it took you a while after the regression to integrate it in answer this question. In a sense, to integrate it so that you can come back to normal. Was that a period of time? No. For me personally, no. It all slotted straight away, and that was it. It zipped up nicely. The only thing I was expecting was for the next couple of nights. I was expecting vivid dreams, but I didn't have anything. I think I might have had a dream the first night, but I didn't. I mean, I think from that regression was so vivid in itself, maybe that wasn't necessary.
But no, everything just slotted straight in. There was no problems at all with integration. It was just, it was complete closure on that score. It was done and dusted and forgotten.
If someone came up to you and asked you that they were curious about past life regression but were a bit scared, because for a lot of people it's quite scary.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
What would I say to them? First of all, I'd listen to them, find out, try and, judge. But I think the first thing you need to do is keep a very open mind. It's no good going in blinkered.
Yeah.
You've got to be open-minded, because if you're not open-minded, you're going to be very blinkered. You're not going to be relaxed. It's not going to work to a certain degree. It's going to be a total waste of your time, their time, and money. But I would personally say, why do you think you need to research it? But I would certainly recommend it as a way of purging life, of doing it. Obviously, there's always people are scared of, like myself, to a certain degree, the misunderstanding with the hypnotism to start with. Exactly. But also, it's this, unlocking and bringing the devil back with you type thing. A lot of people
think that. Yeah.
But then, Sarah actually explained a lot of things to me that you was doing with it, because obviously she listened to it. And given the content, I felt pretty cringy, because,
there was some nasty stuff.
Yeah. Certainly with the reason to why everything had happened. I felt, you know, of all the people that shouldn't listen to it, she did, but she's pretty professional like that, and she listened to it, obviously she dictated it and transcribed it, and she listened to it, and she told me every stage that you went through and how well you was doing it, and how professional it was being carried out, and why you created this room as a safe haven to get back out of. But no, I mean, I would certainly recommend it to anybody that I thought was going to benefit from it. I certainly wouldn't recommend it to total non-believers. Certainly if people are open-minded, obviously, you know, if they're having sort of like vivid dreams and, you know, of their parents being stabbed to death or something, I don't know why, things have got to be dealt with. But for me, it was just purely emotional. It wasn't anything, I knew it wasn't anything going to be horrific to, you know, I just wanted to find out, but I suppose it depends. But I certainly would have no problems recommending anyone to do it, providing that they can be open-minded enough to have it, open-minded enough to at least try and believe it, and, you know, but the only thing I would say is cause and effects, you know, because the only thing that did scare me, which happily for me didn't happen, was what happens if none of the answers I got were what I thought they were going to be. In this case, it was nothing to do with Bev, which is the woman concerned, or Oliver, which is my son, and it was something totally different. Okay, we've closed that up, but now what? It's an avenue we've investigated, but it's left more questions than answers.
What do you mean if it was different?
If my regression, if I went in feeling very strongly it was to do with why everything happened to me, and as it happens it was. But what happens if it wasn't? What happens if you get all the answers you get back and somebody has a brilliant session and it's not the answers they were expecting, in the fact that it's totally something different? You know,
I think my answer to that would be your unconscious knows best. In a lot of cases it's down to trusting the unconscious, and quite often I have had this experience with people where they think it's one thing, but then when we've explored, something else has come up, and it's been something different, and it can be unexpected, but the result, they still get something gets dealt with, and it's really down to the unconscious deciding what needs to be worked on. But I mean, that's a what if that didn't happen anyway, wasn't it? So
but you know, everything's there for. I always believe everything happens for a reason. No matter how bad or good it is, everything happens for a reason. So may never be in a position to know what that reason is. And if it doesn't happen, you could be a damn sight better off than you were before. But I also believe that what goes around comes around. So if you do your best to take care of people, look after people, love people, be kind to people and the animals and everything else in the environment, and be, you know, I'm not talking about a goody two-shoes or, you know, a total law-abiding freak, but I'm talking about to be the best human, total the law out, to be the best human being possible for yourself. I believe that everything else will fall into place and look after you.
Well, you see, that's what's quite interesting about exploring past lives, isn't it? That you do get an insight into cause and effect through lifetimes.
I mean, one of the things I have to say, and you may have to filter this out because it's not politically correct, is that I've come to believe that a lot of people with disabilities have done something wrong in a previous life. You know, I know that's, you know, very, you know, a politically incorrect thing to say.
There's lots of different theories about
but it's one of those things that I've often wondered about. I never actually really gave it too much thought, but, you know, I've heard people sort of say it in the press and in the news, and then obviously they disappeared off and you never ever hear from them again, you know. But I certainly believe, and it's not just that, but I certainly believe that a lot of bad people in this world, you know, are carrying a lot of anger and bad things either from another previous thing. Now, whether it's physically or mentally or emotionally, I don't know.
I mean, there's lots of theories, and we could discuss we could discuss all this stuff for the rest of the day, really. Whether we're just learning lessons, you know, you make a mistake in one life and then you have to learn the lesson and do the opposite, which is the laws of karma, isn't it?
For me personally, that was the main, I suppose to a certain degree, the primary reason was to find out why I went outside such a loving marriage and did what I did. But the other reason that I really was desperate to do was to clear up. I didn't want this happening again in another lifetime, and I felt very strongly that if I didn't deal with it in this lifetime, it's going to jump. Now, it could have, as you know, it could have jumped obviously a lifetime in between then and now. Yeah. But because it didn't happen in that lifetime,
so how do you feel now with relation to that?
In what respect, sorry?
Well, but okay, you didn't want that. You don't want that happening again. You know, you're talking about going outside marriage.
Yeah. I feel totally different.
Yeah.
I feel totally different. I understand why. In my own mind, I believe why I done what I done. I understand why I done what I done. I know 95% of the female population would say, you know, it's a load of baloney. But at the end of the day, it was so off the wall for me. For me personally, to do something, it was so outrageous. It wasn't me, so I knew there had to be a reason for it. And you know, since that happened, I've never ever thought about it again. I think exactly the same way. I feel exactly the same way now as I did before. But it's the bit in between. So it's answered all my questions and it's closed it up. So I'm quite sure that when I move on to the next lifetime, there will be no carryover.
What about this life? What about this lifetime?
Well, this lifetime is debatable because it's left me feeling very empty, because obviously to a certain degree I've thrown out everything with the actions that I've done. I've found out why the actions I've done. But it's like, where to now? It's given me closure in that respect, but because I've now closed that door, I can now see all the other doors that are open, if you like. And well, what do I do? You know, I'm now in yet another broken marriage and all the rest of it. You know, Sarah looks after me, but obviously things have changed dramatically because of my actions. And we've both got comfort in the fact that we now know what happened, but I can't take it back. You know, not that I love my son, and I wouldn't want to take that part of it back, but I wish I'd done it more clinically, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I don't know now. I mean, I've got to be honest, the first couple of weeks I thought, well, that's it. That was all I was actually had this life for. Just to get to this stage, had my son with this person, and finish off undone from that period in time.
Because obviously, when we did that session, that's all we were focused on.
Yeah.
We just focused on clearing the past.
See, because that was all that was really bothering me.
There was very little that we did actually in the future, because you couldn't see past that
that's
point.
it. So. And the thing is like putting your format. I've seriously had to sit down and think about some of the questions, because since we've done that session, I've forgotten all about it. You know, and that's why time's passed on. But for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I did think, well, that's it. There's no point being in this world anymore, because that was all I was meant to do. So perhaps it's time to game over and start another life. But obviously, in reality, things don't work quite like that. But I don't know now. I just don't know where to. It's closed the door.
Yeah.
And
in my mind, it seems that that's one goal it's such a big goal.
Yeah.
And I've had this experience myself. If I've had such a big goal, that's all you can see. And when you've got that goal out of the way, if you haven't got another one, you sort of are in limbo. So all I would say is you need another goal.
Yeah.
You need another goal.
I do need another goal, but like everything else in everybody's life, with recession, God knows what else is happening at the moment. Everything's, you just got to keep everything open. But anyway, I don't know which way to go.
Can I leave that last thought with you?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're likely to just run on the topic.
Yeah.
I'll just say thanks for coming on and doing that.
No problem.